Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Shantae. I'm your host Shadow HB3 and I'm ready to entertain. In the last episode, we journeyed all the way to Watertown, talked to our good friend Bolo, and he helped us get to where we are right now, outside the Dribble Fountain labyrinth, and helped us open the way there. In this episode, we're going to go inside the Dribble Fountain and try to see what Risky Boots is up to in there, as she has already gone inside herself somehow, some way, when this thing was locked. But anyways, let's go ahead and not waste time. We'll go inside the Dribble Fountain labyrinth. And we have a cutscene upon entering inside right away here as we see Risky Boots. There you are! Hold it, you rat! Huh? It's that silly little girl again. I guess she's not little, but she is a girl, so I can say that much. Try if you like, but you'll never keep up with me. Ta-ta! I love how she just disappears down below here in this opening, and then it closes and we can't even get down there. But what we'll have to do in order to explore this labyrinth, proceed, we actually have to come up here, hit this little seal right here, and we can back our way in if we want to, although I was going to crawl forward. I don't know why I crawled backwards, but we're inside our first labyrinth here, the Dribble Fountain. Drop down here and we'll go ahead and get started. So the thing you want to learn about or know about these labyrinths, if you played any Legend of Zelda game, this is the equivalent of, say, the dungeons in those games. So we're going to be collecting different valuable items. We'll be learning some maybe learning some new techniques here that'll help us along our way. We'll see some unique enemies that you won't see really outside in all of Sequin Land. And just know that there's going to be lots of puzzles to be solved. So if you can get past those things, then you'll be in good shape. But something I hate about these jumping jellies here, that not only do they get in your way, but they drop items sometimes. You can't even collect them, because even if you were to collect them, you fall in the water, you automatically lose a life. So you come to this room, you have 3 different choices. You could either go up, you can go left or right, or you can go down. We ultimately have to go down because the door is locked, and up we can't really go up that high because there's a bunch of walls, so we won't be able to travel that far anyway. So go down, go into this room. You'll come across this first of what is the only female wetmen inside this labyrinth. And the wetmen here, they are the primary inhabitants of this dungeon. Like I said, that's the female. I think it's the only female inside here, so it's not much of a hassle. The males, on the other hand, they are much more of a hassle, for sure. They take 10 hits. They sometimes jump about at random points in time, and they block and will push back, and there's no telling how soon or how often they will block until they're finally in a position to get hit. So you just have to keep attacking them, preferably get them up against the wall to where they can't move, and then just keep attacking until they go down. And then something we'll also be collecting as we're inside these labyrinths is the baby warp squids. There are 5 of them total, and as we can see here by Shantae, she says, I bet they missed their mom. But if they did miss their mom, then I mean, why would they run away to begin with? I don't get it, but yeah, there's 5 baby warp squids per labyrinth. I'll tell you right now, I'll just be able to collect 3 of them. That's the first one out of 5 inside here. The other 2 that we'll collect are can be pretty easy to miss, or at least one of them can be pretty easy to miss if you're not careful. But I'll show you how to collect those in a little while. So in the meantime, we go into this next room. We'll soon come across our first puzzle. But right now we've got a lot of platforming to do, so just as like I'm doing right now, I'm actually holding down the run button because you have to travel a couple of distances here. But I guess while we're going through this section, I can talk a little bit about the music. Oh, come back here, break this jar open, you get a 1-up, which you never have enough of those, that's for sure. So I don't know about you all, but the music here, even though it's pretty, I mean, generally with most music in video games, it's all repetitive in the end of the day, but something about this I like about it. I mean, it really does feel like you're inside of a dungeon labyrinthy setting. So anyways, take a look at this picture here. See the 3 different pictures of a snail, squid, and a fish read from top to bottom. You'll want to memorize that So snail, squid, fish. Drop down to that opening here. You're going to need to, from here, put the what you saw on the wall, match it with these stones here. And if you do it correctly, then a key will drop out, and you just need to collect it, and that'll be the key that we'll need to go through our first locked door. There are a total of 4 keys we'll need to collect inside this labyrinth. This, as far as the puzzles go in here, it's not too complicated as far as what you need to do, but just know that, I mean, it's going to, of course, require a good amount of platforming and just patience getting through, getting past those male wetmen, because they can drag you down. But in any case, when you make your way back here to this green chamber, go up top, and if you do, you'll come across a bunch of really good handy items. You saw we had the whole heart, and then also to collect, and then we have these 3 square gems, which are worth 20 gems each, so you collect 60 gems right off the bat just from going up top there, so that's very, very useful. And now, we'll need to make our way back up to get to the locked door. These platforms that we didn't step on at all as we made our way down, they do can shock you. They will let off electricity at different varying intervals, so if you're on them at the time they do that, then they will hurt Shantae. But unlock the door, go to this next room, run across those small platforms here, those pincers that are hidden in the water. They will try to lunge at you. So if you run across, they cannot get you at all. Now some of these crabs that we're right here at, they will drop gems. I don't really bother with the lower ones just because they're in a tough place where you don't have a whole lot of time to actually, get in position to attack them. Now these stones that we came across earlier, these will, unlike the first one we came across, these ones will start spouting out flames, and they will do so at varying intervals. So you'll want to actually keep in mind the pattern at which they do the spout out the flames, so that way you're not caught in a tough spot. But just be patient, and you'll be able to get there through them pretty easily. There's some hearts to collect along the way too if you need them. But oops, went the wrong way there for a moment. I thought I was gonna give me, or I was gonna be in a bad spot. All right, this one can be a little bit tricky, but just like I say, be patient. You'll be able to get through there, no problem. All right, next room here with the next wall looks like snail, snail, fish, fish from top to bottom. So just memorize it. You don't have to worry about having to keep it in memory for too long. So just input it here in this next room. And once you do that, the key is going to drop out of this container, and it's going to fall in this opening right there, which will fall down eventually. But go to the left, you'll collect a jar, or see a jar where you can collect the gem worth 5 gems. So now that we've done everything here, drop down inside this room. You'll drop all the way down into this other chamber, and this is where our key is. So go ahead and collect it. And I'll show you where we need to go to collect our, or go to our next locked door. Reason why I came to this area, not really anything significant unless you really want to get a 1-up. And then of course if you want to get another bit of gem. I was fortunate that that wetman decided to attack and go right up against the wall, so he put himself in a pretty bad spot to get ambushed. But now we end up below where these worm platforms are. We'll need to come up them eventually, but just make your way down here, and we're going to be working our way even further down inside this labyrinth, and we'll get to our next set of next key here. Here's another square gem for you to collect, and I was afraid I was going to land right on that crab, but that's okay. I haven't taken a hit in quite a while. Now here's something you may not know about. If you see where that crab walked underneath that overhang here, wait for him to come back, attack him so he doesn't distract or get in your way. Crawl through, which you can do, and in this hidden room you'll find the second baby warp squid. So we'll go ahead and collect them, and thankfully we're low enough that the flames don't hurt, or rather burn Shantae's hair, which would be a bad thing, because then obviously we wouldn't have a means to attack other than our hair. So now what you're going to want to do is make your way through this portion here. Is there a... Okay, there isn't a crab here. Okay, it's in this next area right here. Let me get a little closer to where I can take it out, so that way I don't have to worry about having to land on anything. Land on it, rather. But then go to this room, and this room I think gives me a couple, problem every now and then, as do these crabs when they appear when I'm least expecting them. But here you have more statues that will spout out flames. Just be patient, wait for them to fire, and then you'll be able to make your way through. And here we have our third locked door, so just unlock it, get through pretty easily. And then we just have a couple more keys, or I should say that's our second locked door. Now, we don't have a picture right away, but as you saw here, if you try to flip one of those stones, the top one rather, it will come off and break, and so now we have a problem because we don't have the right amount of stones. I can't believe that crap hit me. We don't have the right amount of stones to actually solve whatever puzzle we need to in order to get the key, so we're going to need to figure that out as well. We will. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and make our way up here, because that's where we're going to need to go to our next room and get our next key, because to the right is a locked door. We won't be able to get through there yet unless we get the key. Now, we will need to take out this Wetman right here, because it's got the third key. So, thankfully it cooperated and went down pretty easily, but defeat it, you'll get your third key. If you come up here, there's a couple more crabs you can attack. They may or may not have gems, but that's as far as we can go for right now. There's more to explore in this labyrinth, but obviously since we don't have everything we need, we can't go to that area right now, so we'll have to come back there later. But come back to this room, go to the right, you'll be able to unlock the door, and we are now just in kind of the latter part of this final puzzle here to this entire labyrinth. So we have our final picture that we had to match the with the stones with down below. So fish, snail, fish, we want to keep that in mind. Come all the way here, and then you'll see there's a stone that is off of this pillar right here. We're going to need to use this one in order to actually match the picture. So what you're going to need to do now is actually move this stone all the way down while crouching, while moving it with your hair, which is, I think, a little too tedious, but what are you going to do? And maybe we can collect a gem or two along the way. But yeah, we'll eventually get down to the bottom, and I'll try to, like I say, I tell myself I get a little too greedy at times when it comes to trying to collect these as many gems as I can, but I can't help it. It's like in my nature to to take out enemies. Alright, we're right at the lip of where we need to go to drop this stone down, but before we go down, let's collect a few more gems here, and then we'll drop down here once we get the stone down, and now we can complete the puzzle with a fresh stone. So put in the puzzle successfully if I can. There's unfortunately no platforms for you to actually use, so you have to be a little bit precise with your jump and when you attack it, otherwise you get that to happen and it can be a little bit more difficult to deal with. But eventually, once you get it right, key will pop open or pop out, collect it, and we've got all 4 keys. Now, in order to proceed to get to the boss, we're going to need to learn a particular dance that's going to grant us an ability to, of course, I get hit. It's going to grant us an ability to be able to move and scale walls pretty easily. You all will see here in just a moment, but make our way back up here. There's a container here that we won't be able to get yet because we don't have the height. Same thing with this baby warp squid. We don't have the ability to jump that high as Shantae to get there. But if you keep walking to the right, you'll see another locked door, a couple of jars with some gems. Walk through here. We'll be inside the Guardian Genie chamber, where the Guardian Genie of this labyrinth has been locked up. So if we talk to her, she looks like she's a prisoner right now, but if you talk to her, she's all good because we freed her, even though it doesn't look like anything changed to where she was, you know, from before when she was a prisoner to now to where she's free. But she says, "Thank you for freeing me. Once I was the guardian of this labyrinth, but a terrible creature imprisoned me here. For your kindness, I will teach you a magical dance you can use to foil evil. Watch closely." And so now we get to learn our first ever dance in this game. It's going to be the first of 10 dances, as you can see here. And this is going to be our monkey dance. So we will, with this dance, be able to transform into a monkey. And you guys are going to see here in just a moment how cool this is. But as the Genie Guardian says, you can review the dance moves on your sub-screen and practice hard and never forget them. Well, I may not have to worry about trying to remember them because I can always go back, but if you do them enough times, you should remember them. But here's how the dancing sequence works. So if you press select, that'll start the dance mode and you'll have a rhythm that you'll get started. And so then from there, push down and then right in rhythm and time with the music, and then you'll transform into whatever animal you are. In this case, right now, we're going to be the monkey. So the monkey, not only does the monkey cover so much ground a lot faster, but it jumps higher, which is key to getting this baby warp squid. So you have to be the monkey in order to get it. So collect that, and then finally you have to jump up here and get this jar. I could have attacked this jar as Shantae, but I wouldn't have been able to get up here, so I want to wait to get up here as the monkey, and then you can change back to Shantae and then get the jar by pressing select. If I had attacked the jar and then I didn't get up there immediately, obviously the item, in this case the gem, would have disappeared, and then it would have, you know, been a waste. So I would have let 20 gems go to waste, which would be a, you know, pretty sad thing if you ask me. But in any case, door reopens, so it was sealed off, and then we're finally going to need to make our way back over from before to get to where we need to ultimately go in order to find the boss, and more importantly so, I should say, track down Rescue Boots. But yeah, we will fight a boss. Surprise, surprise. So let's try to see if we can make our way back up here without getting hit. I was afraid I was going to get hit. It's all about that commentator's curse, if you guys believe in that sort of thing. Let's see if this crab has a heart. Nope. He has 5 gems. That's still pretty good. I'll take that. Plus, we're going to be able to get hearts before we go into the boss fight anyways, which I'll tell you all right now, even though it's going to be the first boss fight, I'm not really looking forward to it because it's actually pretty difficult. At least it's given me all kinds of fits. Maybe if you all were to play it right now, you'd have an easier time, but for some reason I have a hard time with it. But I'll show you all eventually. But make our way back to where we essentially started here, this main hub area, and now we can actually go up. I mean, we could go up before, but we wouldn't be able to get very far, unfortunately. Now, something to keep in mind, these platforms here that will shock you, they will, a lot of times here, especially that one that we were just on, they will delay how often they go in and out of generating electricity and not generating electricity, so just keep that in mind. But we just have one other item to collect here that unfortunately we're going to have to transform as the monkey, scale this wall, which I think is also great about the monkey. You can scale walls too, which makes covering ground so much easier. You have to change into Shantae, get the jar, you know, which gives you only 5 gems, and then come back down here, and then you have to transform into the monkey again just so you can actually get to the other side. Now, the doorway will seal off here, and that's because there are these 2 wet men that are looking this way here. I'm going to try to see if I can maybe get them in a position to where I can deal with these guys, but maybe in some cases it may be actually a bit of a hassle to deal with these guys, especially when they're like kind of going in and out, and I have no idea why they're doing that. So, it's actually, this one got down. Okay, I'm gonna stay down right here because they're in a position where they can't get me, and I want to go ahead and try to put myself in a position where I don't die. So I'm gonna wait for them to try to come here. Last time when I practiced this, I had them in a really good spot where I got both of them in one spot. Okay, well there goes one. And that one is done too. So all that work just to get 10 gems total combined from those two. But the door back to the left will open, but what you'll want to do, because we need to go forward to get to Ski Boots, come here. Thankfully you have 2 more jars with 2 full hearts in there. So collect them, and then once you're ready to go, come through this room and we will meet up with Risky Boots, who is in a chamber which has a particular unique stone associated with it. Wow, what is this place? Ho ho ho! The legendary Dribble Stone, mine for the taking. Why pour water into that steam engine when this thing will power it forever? And then it's like, what? It's like it goes away, and then she just like gets knocked off, and the stone goes away, she goes away, everything's getting tossed about. But in any case, the chamber goes away, and then this crazy looking giant metal floating cyclops appears, and it's annoying as heck trying to deal with this thing, because it's just, I don't know, it's the timing is just so, the way how it goes back and forth, it's just annoying. And I mean, you saw I didn't hit it once. It spins left and right. The only way you can attack it is if you hit it in the eye. It takes 5 hits to defeat. If you don't defeat it fast enough, it goes through that series where it'll run below, and then it'll cycle down, drop, and then it will actually you know, cause a tidal wave, which you cannot avoid. So it's really annoying to deal with. And I probably am going to die at this right away, as you saw right there I did. And it takes 5 hits to defeat. Oh man, I was hoping it wouldn't go into that phase right away. But yeah, this thing can be annoying, so I'm not surprised that I died. But like I was saying, it takes 5 hits to defeat, but the fact that you can only attack it in its eye, and the fact that there's a tidal wave, which as far as I know you can't avoid unless maybe you transform into the monkey. I'm guessing you could jump high enough to avoid it, but still. Thank you. Okay, one more hit. Can I get you? Can I get you? No, I can't get you. Oh, great. Alright, you know what? Let's try... Okay. I'm gonna try to actually see if I can avoid this tidal wave as the monkey. Yeah, I jumped high enough to where I could. Yeah, I could, yeah. That's really the only way you can avoid this. You have to transform as the monkey in order to avoid the tidal wave. So, hit. But, come on. 1 hit left. Let's get this thing. Thank you! Okay. Jeez, but I swear the long play video that I watched of this when I was practicing this made this look so easy. But once you defeat it, it'll let go of what is the Dribble Stone, and so we'll collect it, and it's going to be important. We'll talk a little bit about it in the next video, but this is where I'm going to go ahead and end things here. So if you all like what you saw, please subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And when I see you all next time here, we will leave, having collected the Dribble Stone, we'll leave this labyrinth, and we'll check up on Bolo and see how he is, and we'll figure out where to go to next. So until next time, this is Shadow HB 3 signing out, telling you guys, stay perky. I'll see you all soon. Oh, hello. Did not mean to fall there. Thankfully, I think those water dragons only pop out in one unique spot, so you can't have more than one water dragon pop out and one small waterfall, I think. I don't want to experiment with that right now. All I just care about is getting back to Scuttletown. So, and try to get through there as much as I can. I totally forgot about it.